Everybody, welcome to our Anne Frank final project. I'm off from school for the summer. As you can tell, I am exhausted. I was exhausted from all that work. But now I'm here on my YouTube channel and we are on our home stretch, finishing up our unit, and then we are going to a next unit. So let's dive in here. Before we dive into the project, and before I tell you about the project, I want to tell you what the calendar is going to look like for this project. As you can tell, it's really, really short for this project. It goes to the 22nd. Why? Is because I'm going on a trip with my family on the 24th. So a short trip, but on the 24th. So I want to get this unit done and everything submitted before I go on that trip. After my trip, I will look at your guys' submissions and start grading. So, welcome back. Glad to see you all again for a while. So first of all, we are wrapping up our unit with a final project, final test, and written response. So this is the final project, short project, but it's final test. I will go over that probably a day before the test, so that you guys can kind of get prepared for it. We'll have videos for the whole project. So last day of the project, right before the test, I will go over what questions you might see. Some repeat questions, probably a lot of questions. So yeah, okay. So and then our written response, we are doing a thesis and evidence thing based off the book. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to dive into the book and find some quotes and page numbers. Really, really easy. There's also a modification to it. So, rest of this unit will not be too hard. Okay. So here is our timeline or our calendar for the unit. So project intros today. Tomorrow will be the materials plus first work day. Then Thursday will be your figuring out your plot, layout, and drawings. Then Friday will be your drawing, and then you're adding your quotes. Saturday, your final test, and then finishing up project. Sunday is the absolute last day you can get it turned in. After that, I will not be accepting anymore as we are moving on. And then 22nd is our writing day. All right. So some quick announcements. So on the 17th, I will introduce the layout you'll be using, and I will give the requirements. Today, I'll go over the project. So tomorrow will be layout and requirements, and then you will be getting started. This is an independent project, meaning from the last project, which is back there, I did with it. For this project, you're doing it alone. Here you can ask for help, you can use notes, you can use the book, but I'm not doing it with you like I did with the last project. This is an independent project, as this is a final project for the unit. On the due date of the project, I will talk about where to submit and stuff, like also the time that you're submitting it. There's a certain time. And there's also a layout you have to follow. Sorry, but that's just how the project is when I came up with it. We are also going to clear out our art bags on the last day of the unit because we are getting new art bags for the next unit. So that would be exciting. All right, future plans. After this, we got 2 units ahead of us, so I will not spoil them until it's time for them, but it's going to be fun. Like I said before, as I choose my units, I make sure they're fun units for you guys, and I make sure they're entertaining and engaging. So I make sure are these the right units for my audience, and if my audience will lose interest or not. So the unit right after this is a book. It's based off a book, and it's about the same concept but somewhat different. So same concept of this is like a huge hint, but it's also a graphic novel, and it's an actual book. I will say the actual book tells way more than the graphic novel. People have said the graphic novel, sometimes, what is it like? I don't know how to describe it. Restricts, I guess. Not restricts, but if there's a word for it, I don't know. Doesn't tell exactly like the book. There's more detail in the actual book, and it's way longer too. The book is way longer. The graphic novel is just like this, an adaptation, for like readers who don't understand, words. But I also think it's a good version of the actual book. It has pictures and it tells the plot is good. I just think, and I agree with the person who said this, the actual book gives way more details than the actual graphic novel. Still, we are going to use the graphic novel as we are doing some sculpture. But we're going to be doing a small sculpture, and it's going to be an independent sculpture, as I do not have the materials for them. So there's that. It's going to be a graphic novel like this. It's going to be a soft cover, so it's not going to be a hard cover. And this is about the Holocaust. It's about this Anne Frank and her experience in the Holocaust. So our next book is going to be similar. I will just say the events it took place in. So it took place in Siberia, I believe. And this was what was happening in Russia with the Soviet Union. And if you don't know what the Soviet Union is, it's Russia. All of Russia was the Soviet Union. Joseph Stalin led it, and it's basically what he was doing over there. And fun fact, I will tell you guys this. My dad told me this that I actually did not know. So Hitler, the chancellor of Germany, in this book, when he was in Germany, oh my God, how am I gonna explain this very easily so you guys don't lose patience with me? Germany wanted to be, and I don't know how my dad knows this. I did not ask him for a source, so if this is wrong, I will blame him for it. But I think it's mostly correct because it is Russia and Joseph Stalin did terrible things to people. Germany wanted to take over the world. They wanted to be superior to everyone. They wanted to take over the entire world. So Hitler started taking over Poland and then other places. I'm not too sure. Later, the Netherlands. I'm not too sure. Then he wanted to take over Russia. But Russia is huge, very, very huge. But Joseph Stalin was like, no, not gonna let that happen. Hitler. They both hated each other. Imagine Hitler, Stalin. Hitler said, I want to take over Russia. Stalin was like, no. So Stalin started doing terrible things to people, including starving them out, taking them to concentration camps. In this book, the whole family was brought to a concentration camp. I believe it was because of their father who like betrayed them or something. It was something with their father that then brought them to the concentration camps, and they were labeled as criminals or like as betrayers. But in this book, I think they were labeled as prostitutes. So, um, so if you're like a betrayer or do something wrong, concentration camp. Same with Hitler. If you are a Jew, that was the primary reason why you were sent to a concentration camp. If you were disabled, that meant you couldn't really do anything in Hitler's mind, concentration camp. If you disagreed or made fun of Hitler in any way, even in private, concentration. So that's interesting. Where was I? So what Stalin did was, and this is what my dad told me again, they took their crops and they started burning them and started moving people out so that Hitler could not take over. So Stalin starved his people out, did terrible things to them. I think there was forced labor going on there. So yeah, terrible was happening in Russia, Germany, and other countries too. Not just those two, but other countries too, with dictators and stuff. So terrible, terrible. If you want more of that, I can tell you at the end of the video or tomorrow. But that was basically it. The recap. Hitler, I want to take over Russia. Stalin, no. And I think Hitler might have still tried to do it, but I don't know. I'm not too sure. My dad didn't tell me that part. Stalin, okay, he's gonna try to take over Russia. Let's burn our crops, starve everyone out, so I think we'll take over Russia. There is that history story for you and kind of what the book is about. By towards this family is sent to a concentration camp, and yeah, that's all I'll tell you for now. But they do stuff there. They do get out, but that's all I'll tell you from there. The other unit is off a book as well. It's going to be art, but taught in a different subject. So it's not going to be taught art. It's going to be taught in a different school subject. So that would be interesting. So some art will be included, some will not. A lot of it is not going to be art. Some of it is going to be a independent sculpture. Some of it is going to be lectures, notes on the subject. But the subject is interesting. You all done it in school. I don't want to spoil anything. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, but you are going to enjoy it. It's engaging. All right, so what about after those 2 minutes? Am I quitting YouTube? So basically, I'm going to read this and then add to anything I want to add on, if I want to add on. So I will not be quitting YouTube for a long time. I love what I do on here. After school, I want to be an online art teacher, just like this, and upload art videos on other subjects I'm interested, like arts and science. And I hope to make a profit of what I do, hopefully. However, there is a however. When I'm ready, I do want to pursue my real dream, which is teaching art class in person with my current dream, which is my current dream. Being an online art teacher is my temporarily passion. When I feel prepared enough, I will be quitting YouTube and going fully in person. If I am not ready, I will of course stay on here. My plans for now is to stay online for a while. When I'm an adult and ready, I will go for an in-person art class at a middle school or high school, or teach the other subjects that I mentioned. So there is that. Nothing else I really want to add. Something's telling me that I won't be ready for quite a while, so I will be remaining online for a while after high school. I will not be going to college due to price and just to get a regular people. I just don't want to go through college. Um, and this doesn't require college, but Golden Person does. So what I could do is after high school, stay on here, and then best thing about college is you don't have to go to it immediately. You can go into college anytime you want. So that's what I'll be doing when if I'm ready to go into person. Alright, I think we are ready to go into our project. Alright, final project time. And I apologize, my camera's a little blurry, but we'll have to do with it. To conclude our unit on Anne Frank, you will create a comic panel showing the beginning to the end of the book's plot. Firstly, let's turn it over to our document camera to review our notes from the beginning of the art minute. So if you have those, go ahead and pull those out. This will help us because I want to do a review of what we have done with techniques. I also want to go over the transitions needed and what they are so you guys are ready. And you guys are going to be reading transitions for this content. They are one of the requirements and you're going to have to read all of them. So let's switch over to the document camera. Sorry if my camera is. Yes. All right, so I'll give you guys a second to get those out really, really quick. All right, so I just want to do a brief overview of our notes because it's been a while since we did these notes. So I just want to go down and basically go over them. So what is a graphic novel slash comic? Sorry, you cannot do that. It's a little bit of adjust. All right, bear with me here. This should work. All right, so what is a graphic novel slash comic? Graphic novel is a medium art form. Graphic novel pairs sequential with minimal text to tell a story. Now, the definition of sequential is forming or following in a logical order or sequence. Now, this section I messed up, so everything here goes here. So, the drawings are supposed to go here. So, definitions, symbols, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. Are images we use to represent concepts, ideas, and philosophy. And here's a drawing. Yang. Sorry, it's blurring up. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh Lord. LCS, which is language, science, communication, are images used for practical understanding. And you can see this. Picture is images designed to resemble their subject, such as this burger right here. All right, amplification, oh my God. There is simplification. When you look at a photo or realistic face, you see it as the face of another. But when you enter the world of the cartoon, you see yourself. So we went over this at the start of the unit, as it goes to a detailed face to more of a sloppy face, because it takes time to do all the details, so you don't want to do it for each panel, so you just do this. Flipping it over to comics vocab. So panels, each framed image. Panels offer the reader a specific perspective, which is point of view, through which they view the subject. So if you want to put that as a note, POV equals point of view through which they view the subject. Panels can come in various shapes and sizes and hold in their borders all of the icons that add up to the vocabulary of comics. Now, this is a comic panel. So here you have a gutter. Now, not all of these are labeled, so that's kind of my fault. Gutter, gutter, this is gutter right here, panel, and I'm just gonna assume this is panel. So your comic will look, the layout will look similar to this, but it will have a certain amount of panels. Now, what are gutters? The space between each panel. Gutters provide transitions, which are something that something happens in that gutter space, but the reader must fill in that information. So something happens in that gutter space, and the reader is required to fill in that space, because otherwise there'll be nothing. The use of panels and gutters create the relationship between time as depicted in comics and time as perceived by the reader. Now, a belief definition, and I apologize, this is a long video, is an image that spreads outside the panels, edges, or runs off the page. So we have seen this in our book, and I'll show you guys a partial bleed as we are, as I was talking about full bleeds. This is kind of a partial bleed where they give you a bird's eye view of the tips and the gas, or these are not. These are I actually don't know what these are, but if I were to take a guess, because there are gas tanks here, these are the showers. They would then hook the gas up and let the gas in to kill all the people in. Full bleed. When a page bleeds on all sides and spans the width of the page, it's called a full bleed. We've seen that in our book before with the scene where they crashed that plane into the building and everyone starts running. And also, yeah, this is a full bleed as well, where their town is completely flooded from a storm, I think. If I can even find it. But that is a full bleed. This is a full bleed. Takes up the entire page. This is a full bleed when they are depicting all of Anne's family members as animals because they are locked in there. This is a full bleed when the burglars break in and they are up above. And partial bleeds. If I cannot find it right now, I will just skip it. But full bleed, and sometimes it will have other pages like that in the book where there's not much pictures needed. You can just have the words in there because it's better to convey the idea with words if there's not really pictures needed. It's kind of a better way to convey the idea, but also when it gets to the and parts, her ideas are conveyed with words much often that it's just better to show the words to convey all of her ideas. I cannot find it. This one. That is a great example of a full bleed right there. Okay. Here are our drawings, by the way. This is a graphic weight. A graphic weight is the term to discuss the amount of contrast in an image. Black offsets with white. It's vivid color use and muted colors. What stands out? Graphic weight is used to focus the draw of the reader's eyes to something specific. So in this project, we will not really be focusing on graphic weight as our comic will be in colors, not in black and white. All right, quickly, definitions. You will be using some of these in your comic. I know you'll definitely be using background, midground, foreground, which quickly background would be the sky, foreground would be, anything closest to you, and then midground would be in the middle. And then Emanata, yes, you might be using that for your quotes, for your text. Thought bubbles, yes. Speech bubbles, yes. Captions, yes, if they show them in the book. And then transitions, definition of a transition is occur within the gutter space between panels. So you'll be using all these are transitions as they are required. So moment to moment transition, as you can tell, it's between moments. Action to action is more action wise. Subject to subject, is then the subject. Scene to scene, what's going on in one scene in another scene. Aspect to aspect, so different aspects, and then non sequitur transitions, and you can see all the definitions there. All right, so keep these as they are needed for your final project. So keep those on hand. Back to wrap up our final project. So what is this worth? It's worth 15 points. Yes, I will be grading this for you really. And that's it for today. So lastly, you'll be getting the rubric and the layout of the panels tomorrow. There is a limit, so think about how are you going to do this when I give you the rubric. Start your thinking tomorrow. The rubric has all the instructions on what we're looking for and how you're supposed to do this. So wrap up this. So that's it for today. To wrap up, though, start your thinking tomorrow. It's really wise to start your thinking tomorrow. Today, if you want to start on something today, I would say study these as you'll need. Here's what you'll need to study for. You'll need to study this. This, and then these. And then I will Probably also a day before the test, I will give out a study guide. Most of what you'll need to study are these notes though. So you won't need to worry as most of the things you'll need to study are on these notes. There is also a lot of repeat questions too from past videos on how we did Anne Frank. So all those questions will be on the final, and then plus like a few of my own questions, and that will be the final. So don't go back into the video and do that. If you do, that's cheating. Um, so don't do that. And you're good. So that's it. Hope you like the video. Subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss another video from me. And I will see y'all tomorrow. It is great to be back.